Fuck. All right. Starting again because I had this fucking thing on mute. Fuck me dead. All right. At least I can do it quicker this time because I've already done most of the thinking along the way. So, key levels. Sorry, how far in are we? So I can cut the start of it. So 17 minutes in. All right. Key levels. Interestingly, we bounced off the value area low. We are closing above the mid. Well, looks like it's trying to close above the mid band of the Gaussian channel. If we do, then that is a good sign. Definitely a potential to come back down to the bottom here. Mainly because we've left some pretty decent vector candles in here. We don't have to come back to them straight away. We don't have to come back to them at all, but that's a fairly sharp turnaround that does tend to attract price action a little bit. It is looking fairly strong though, so just have to wait and see. Yeah, bot took a good short here, but it's still getting fucking screwed over by these pump and dumps. The new one shouldn't be that bad once I get around to it. Yeah, so target in the short term, I got in, I had an order sitting at 62,550, which got in, I think, just here. Might have been that candle. I will be looking for this to be sort of topping out. Probably if it breaks below the 50 EMA, I would think. I will take a bit of profit on that one, just to protect the liquidity as we're coming down. Because there is potential to keep going down. And yeah, I'll also be looking to take profit up here because it will have recovered most of these vector candles, the 200 EMA and the 5 minute. So 64,200's a good place for it to be topping out, but I'm going to be watching this fairly closely as well. Basically, just want to have a quick look. Yeah. I mean, it's all pretty much in agreement at the moment. Bitcoin longs is flat. That's interesting. Not as much buying of this dip as what I expected. But at the same time, it could be that people are buying at the same time there's people closing after making some of these longs. So, like making profit on these ones. So yeah, daily close above that Gaussian mid-band is pretty critical. I do expect some sideways chop, potentially another sort of retest back down into this level. If we break below the 62,200-ish level and close probably even on a 4-hour, let alone a daily, I would be looking for probably to come back down into around that 54, 55 mark. We'll be well and truly into that bearish control zone by then. The thing that was concerning me, which the people that were in early wouldn't have seen, but the volatility is jumping up, and there's no sign at the moment of the stochastic momentum stopping. So all these indicators on the daily are still pointing to the downside. Now, typically, that's not necessarily the worst thing. As you can see here, there's looks like it's accelerating to the downside there, and then we get a turnaround. And then it's still not until this candle, where we've retraced a hell of a lot, that you actually start to flip to the bullish side. So these are basically all indicators are lagging indicators. You're just looking for key levels, and as we've said, these are very key levels that we're sitting at now. We are below the pink band on the Pi cycle indicator. That concerns me a bit. So I still think there's a potential to head back down. This is a key area. The 200 EMA, the bottom of the Gaussian channel, that will be critical to see a bounce there. And realistically, we're still putting in higher lows, right? Anywhere in this region, even anywhere down in here, it's still going to be a higher low. But what we don't want to see is this really kick on. The volatility keeps going, your stochastic momentum's heading down hard, or it's in the bearish control zone, and we end up just flushing down to this 51.5 to 52, so the 42 sort of area, which would be a pretty decent retrace. Like that's the 800 EMAs coming right into that area now. It's an interesting spot, and we're at an interesting level. So, but I still, there's just so much, as I showed yesterday in Discord, there has been so much Bitcoin bought up on this dip that it's just not funny. Like some dude bought, I think it was like 5,000, or some entity or person bought, it's like 5,000 Bitcoin and has transferred them out of Binance just in the last couple of days. It doesn't surprise me based on the volumes we've seen on this rundown. Yeah, there's a lot of buying going on. There is still some down here, but as you can see, sorry, I need to freaking open that somehow. Here we go. This is from last night. This rundown obviously had a pretty sharp turnaround, and you started to see the long orders really chase it. Once you start seeing that, you do normally see a bit more of a bounce. Yes, you can get it sort of chop around, come back into here, pick up these orders, and then go. But you tend to see that as being normally a pretty good sign that you're getting close to the bottom. Now we did come back down more into this region here, and yeah, fair play. That there was a lot of orders in here as well. So it's just when do they stop? When do they stop selling? When do the buyers run out? If the buyers run out, it's going to 42K. That's the thing that sort of concerns me in the back of my mind. But at the moment, there's not a lot of liquidation levels below, as I was miming earlier. On the weekly, there's starting to be really a lot more above than what there is below. But if we come down to the shorter time frames, there is still a bit here, and whether it wants to just move into these a little bit more first, find some resistance, find some sellers at this area, and then move back down and pick these up. It wouldn't surprise me. Like when you think about it, what you're talking about is basically coming up somewhere into here, maybe hitting the 50 EMA on the daily, which will probably be key EMAs on lower timeframes as well, and then pulling back, picking up the liquidity that was here, and then potentially running up again. So that's why I think the next couple of days, we're probably going to chop around this area a little bit unless we flush. And a flush would be a close below that 62,200. I think we're pretty quickly going to see 60K, somewhere in that region. But at this stage, high volume area, lots of key support levels. I think that's probably going to be the place for the turnaround. Big sell-off on the NASDAQ today, basically recovery of that, the gap. One thing that is of interest, PMI, the ISM manufacturing PMI came in quite low. That's way below forecast. That's showing weakness across the manufacturing sector. That's probably what's led to this sell-off. It's also led to a big sell-off in the bonds. So the 2-year bonds has come right back down into this level here. So that's what nearly, I think that's more than a full percentage point below what, so four potential rate cuts below the current market, or the cash rate. So that's a big sell-off. Obviously, we got the turnaround on the bounce on the yield curve. That is kind of suggesting that the market's not happy at the moment. It is going into that longer term money, but even then, the 10-year's been selling off quite hard too. So, and high yield has sold off. I need to get high cycle. Sorry. Even high yield, that's a big drop on high yield bonds on pretty big volume. So, especially after a big up day, the bond market's getting shaky. I think the whole market's shaky at the moment. The market is quite nervous about a lot of things. But the move down hasn't really broken to any new lows or anything like that. It's still like stochastic momentum on copper is still up, still in the bearish control zone, but it's up. Gold, it's holding. Oil is coming down again, so a bit of a sell the rip. That 800 EMA has provided some significant resistance by the look of that. And where are we? So the RSP is down a little as well. Again, kind of coming into key levels. Just retesting these EMAs. Could be double topping, but it's a tough market to pick at the moment because, big sell-off day, but the market still looks like it's strengthening. Like it still looks like it's going up. And, the news plays aren't great. Tensions in the Middle East. We got Venezuela's struggling as well after their elections. Not that's a huge global macroeconomic thing, but it just shows there's tensions rising around the world at the moment. I think the UK government just dropped its interest rates as well. The UK Reserve Bank just lowered its rates, so people are freaking out a little bit. But overall, most companies in earnings have actually hit their targets or bettered them. I think it's up around 70 or 80%. the number I was thinking of the other day that was around 30 or 40% was, I think, the forward guidance. In terms of growth predictions, they are down for most companies. So yeah, it's like it's not a huge cause for concern yet. If we start breaking through, like IWM, if it comes back and breaks down below this resistance level, which used to be a resistance level, it's now a support level. Actually got these around the wrong way at the moment. Then you can start worrying a little bit more. I think I'd just be surprised if this is the top. It XLY XLP's come down hard as well. That does suggest that the market's not great. But in saying that, we still haven't hit a 20 on the VIX. Like, it looks like it's trying. It looks like it does want that 20. But what it looks like is the sort of sideways choppiness that I said yesterday was something that we could, or maybe the day before, I think when we were around this area here, choppiness is to be expected after a decent drop. Okay, you can see here most of the time it's not just a V-shaped recovery like this always. Okay, there is chop, and it could be that we do come down a bit further into these sort of levels. 18,300, 18,200 is definitely probably 18,200 to be honest, is certainly a level to be wary of on the NASDAQ. I haven't seen any sort of macro reasons to really be super concerned at the moment. And mainly because, we've still got a fairly high percentage of stocks are still above their 50-day moving average. If we can turn around on the market while that's still the case, then I would expect that we do go for a last decent push up. August is typically a bit up and down as well, so it could just be choppy for a while, which sucks, but I think we really need to see the rate cuts come through. I think once the rates actually get cut, then we'll probably have a decent run up. It's just whether Bitcoin goes before that or not is a tricky question to answer, really. But at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me if we find a base somewhere in here. The guys that use fibs wouldn't be super concerned with this. All right, they'd be sort of looking for buying opportunities at these levels. All right, that's about it. I'll catch us tomorrow. Well, actually, no, I probably won't catch us over the weekend. Gonna have a couple of days off. It's been a couple of big weeks with work, so good luck. Watch for these key levels, and don't freak out too much until we need to, I guess. All right, catch us later.